episode 4 of Eden's Realm. So you can see back in the background, I actually did something in between episodes. I've actually done quite a bit. But the first of which is I added these chests here, which allow us to fill shulker boxes directly into the system. So if I have shulker boxes full of cobblestone, I can easily go up to the cobblestone and put it in. And we'll see here that there they are. They're in the back. Pretty simple. I just had to remove some stuff and move some stuff around, but should be nice. I am running low on copper though, so my aim is to fix that today. And hopefully that will solve all of our copper needs for the future as well. But I'm not entirely sure. We may need to make a bigger copper farm than what I have planned for today. But what have I been doing? Well, what I did earlier is I cleared out all of the water in this ocean over here. This little itty bitty ocean. And you can see that down here there's a lot of mobs spawning. But sadly we're not going to actually be able to make a drown farm here like I was planning. And I suppose it's easier if I go into a creative world to show you. If I wanted to build a drown farm here in this world, what I would do is I'd have flowing water, and then I'd allow the drown to spawn inside of it. So using carpet mod, we're going to check whether or not the drown will spawn. Place it. You can see here, drown will spawn. That can fit, yes. But their will is still at 0%, which is not good. If we check the will of other mobs where they can spawn, like zombies, you can see here, spiders, zombies, zombie villagers, 26, 25% is really good. But 0% for the drowned is not good at all. That's because it will basically always fail, making these farms really unstoppable. If we go to a river biome, though, what we will see is that drowned will spawn, but they spawn 7% instead of the normal 0 or 1%. So what we have to do is we have to go find a river biome. And as far as I'm aware, there is no river biome on the Mushroom Island. I'm pretty sure I've double checked everywhere, but I'm going to do a little bit more looking, but we may have to go off the island to find a river biome. So I did the looking around and I could not find an area that was suitable on the Mushroom Island. There's actually no rivers anywhere around there. So I looked on Chunk Base and I was able to find a spot right next to our iron farm. That's the iron farm down there. That is not only suitable, but it's actually going to be extremely good. So if I turn on the biome border here, you can see up in the top right, we are in a desert currently, which we need to be in a river biome. But if we bring ourselves through this border, you can see that this entire area here is all a river. Which, this is actually a really big river. I mean, obviously it's connected to the ocean, which normally that's not what you would see. But since this is actually a river, what we can do is we can build our farm right here. And I may have to do a little bit of spawn proofing along this up here, and maybe some over in there, we'll see. But hopefully I will be able to figure out a farm that fits in well here that doesn't require us to do a lot of spawn proofing. So I've been doing some designing for the drown farm, and this is what I've come up with. I originally started with an idea to like push back and forth soul sand and regular blocks to alternate pushing them up, but that didn't work out as well as I thought. I know that it had worked in the past with like the fish farm, the tropical fish farm that I did, but it doesn't seem to work now. So what I have here is just flowing water, which is stopped by these trapdoors, and then all of the drowned gets funneled here into the middle, where they get pushed up. They go all the way up here, and then they go into the killing chamber right there. This isn't optimized yet, but it works as a concept, and you can see we actually get quite a bit of drowned here. So hopefully what I will be able to do is extrapolate on this idea here, expand it a little bit, and then fit it into the area where our farm is going to be. If we turn on the biome border and our rendering, we can see that this size of farm just barely fits in. We have a couple of corners that are going to be cut out, but I think it is a good enough sized farm to be able to work it in. I don't like the fact that it's so big and that you can't really build this just anywhere in the world. You kind of have to build it in an area like this, but I think it'll be okay. While I was working on the farm, I also ran across an interesting concept and kind of a weird bug, I think it is, here. So this is called a torch burnout clock. This torch powers the redstone, which depowers it, and eventually it burns out. Something like that. Goodness gracious, too many mobs. But the interesting thing is that if we sometimes in specific orientations and places, if we pulse a different redstone burnout clock, it will turn on another one. So like if we do this one, it won't do it. If we do this one, it won't do it. But if we use 1 and 2 here, you can see they turn each other on, which is really, really weird. And I don't completely understand why that's the case, but it sure is interesting. Alright, so you may have noticed a small problem with what I'm wanting to do. It requires a lot of building blocks, and I don't actually have any of those building blocks. If we look at stone here somewhere, here it is. I have just a little bit, and I might have one. Oh, nope. I don't even have any extra shulker boxes. So I really need to figure out some way to get the building blocks to use it. And I don't really have that many farms right now, even though I've actually been in this world for quite a while. So what I'm thinking is we're going to delay this project, and we're going to go to what is partially an unfinished project, but part of it is done, and the part that we need is a cobble gen and a tree farm. So I have the material list here, over here on the side, and you can see just by the first few items, I need a lot of stuff. So let's do some resource gathering. This farm is going to be really special because it's not necessarily going to be one particular farm, but it's going to be a conglomeration of a lot of them. And it's all going to be based around cubic meters, improved standalone, non-duping blaster. So the goal is to produce a lot of different items and then feed them all into one central blaster where they can all get blown up, and then we can collect all of the blocks and easily put them into an output. So the plan right now is to have one of Ilmanco's 4-type tree farms, my own cobble and basalt farm, a nether tree farm, and hopefully some other farms like a cherry tree farm and maybe a mangrove tree farm along the way. We're going to have to see if I can fit those in, but we're going to build the part that has the 4-type tree farm and the cobble and basalt farm today. Well, not only did I manage to not record the first half of me building this, you guys missed me building cubic meters blaster here, I also managed to record a bit that did not have me talking in it. So that means that now you get me once it's all done. Alright, I have taken a backup of the world in case something goes incredibly wrong, but in theory, I have done all the checks, and if we turn on the cobble or the basalt farm, we should be good. So let's try the basalt. Run over here and give it a look. Oh, that's good. Okay, the feed tape is working. Looking good, looking good. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Getting pushed down in. And in theory, it should end up in the blaster. The TNT gets dispensed. Yep. And, oh, sweet. It blows it right up. So, I realized that while I have managed to build this massive contraption, you guys don't really understand it, and I have yet to explain it. So, I'm going to try and take you through the process of kind of how I put it together. Because understanding the process of how I put it together is more important than understanding each and every detail of the specific thing that I built that ends up way over there. So, what I did is I started with cubic meters design here. He has a lot of stuff going on here, and everything below this line is relatively the same. It's just a blast chamber that destroys all the blocks that get put into it. But then up here, he has some fancy shulker loaders, and really it's only designed for one type of item at a time. But I needed to change that. So, what I did is I edited the design so that it would not filter items, and what I could do is if I had items in a chest, I could open it and toss it out on the ground, and they'd slide over to here, where I could use them to fill a shulker loader right here. Oh, I'm breaking things. It's a good thing I've already built this. That shulker would end up in this chest with all of the goodies, and it would be really easy for me to package everything and take it and go. So, feeding items into here is pretty easy. I can do it at whatever speed I want, and it will handle it. But that means that I need to produce the items and get them into this blockchain right here. I need to feed them right into this line. One of the other components, Ilmango's tree farm, is really similar. What I had to do is I had to take the blockchain that gets pushed out, so the blocks that look something like this, right? I had to move all of those into a straight line like this. And so what I did is I created a system so that the blocks here would get pushed down into a single chain and then pushed by this system here into one blockchain going at a time. So if I press this button, you can see all these pistons get pushed in unison and they push the blocks down that way, which fits our design for over there. But now we have a slight problem, is that this is slower than this farm. So what do? I then have a timer here that once this gets powered once, it takes a certain amount of time for it to get powered back on again. What we can do is we can see here. I'll place some blocks into here. And then if I place this one, you'll see that the repeater goes along here. And that right as this finishes, this will turn it back on. The cobble and basalt farm is the only thing that is 100% my design here. But I'm really happy with it because I can just pick one side and it'll push all the blocks out one end, and it's really, really simple. All you really have to do is you have a hopper clock here with I think 15 items, and it'll just push all the blocks out automatically. Everything is done autonomously, and there's no real need for player interaction, which means that it can be run with a chunk loader. And what I do to power it here is, so by powering either this note block or this note block, what you'll see is all the blocks get pushed out in one go. You get the picture, and so what I can do is I just power one of these target blocks, and it redirects the redstone to power that note block, and then this hopper clock powers everything. So now we have 6 different types of items that we can push into cubic meters farm, and now we have to chain it all together, which is what I finally have over here. We have these piston chains that whenever a block comes out, it lands in front of this observer, which powers this piston so that as things are getting pushed along, they get pushed along this way, and it's all nice and simple. It's not as fast as this can take items, but it is fast enough. The fourth and final piece of what I've added is this control board here. You can see I just have a very simple way to turn on all of the farms, and if I click one, you'll see this one gets powered, and if I had a farm hooked up to the blue line, it would turn on and start pumping blocks into here. But the fancy thing is if I press another one, like the green line, you'll see it turns the blue line off and turns the green line on, and if I want to turn everything off, turns it off. I can't have more than one farm running at a time, so a system like this is really smart. What I do here is whenever a line is powered, it powers all of these pistons to push this redstone block back, and then one line gets powered over the top, which powers only one of these pistons back here to push the redstone block in. And so you can see if I was to put a redstone block above this line right here, that gets pushed down, inverts the signal, and our lamp turns on, and we can take a redstone output from here, like we've done over here, to power our farm. And the farm is completed. For now, I am super happy with it. The tree farm is up and working. I actually need to turn it off. I left it on whenever I left. Not very smart of me. And the cobble and basalt farm is working really well. I ran into one small issue, which it was an edge case, but if a sapling was placed on this block directly after this was retracted, this got powered once more, and so if one bone meal the tree, it would break the system and would cause a lot of problems. So what I had to do is I had to retract this block earlier, and so instead of taking an output from this line here, which powers directly whenever this block gets pushed over, what I did is I took it from this torch here and led it along down here, and this powers it, I think, a total of 2 ticks earlier, and that's all the difference that I needed. So now the farm is completely operational. I've run it on oak for quite a while now, and we can actually see how much stuff we've got. We take a look, quite a bit of oak logs, and then a lot of basalt. So I want to show you guys how the shulker loader works. I think it's pretty interesting. What we do is if I want to load basalt, I stand somewhere right here, and because I have the item mod by Massidy, I just toss it all out. You can see it's really nice and simple, and it flows all the way down to the end. Getting this chest is a little bit more difficult, but yeah. Toss it all out, and then what I can do is I can stand here, I load it, and it automatically breaks if it's full. And then if I want a box that's not full, I'll get one eventually. Here we go. That one's full. This one isn't full here. So if I want a box that is not full, I just put it all in there, and then I click this button. Breaks the shulker, gives me a new empty one. Super useful. And then I can do the same thing for oak logs. And this isn't automated, but it is fast, and because I have so much storage here, I really am not too worried about getting the most optimal thing out of this. So I've thrown the partial box of basalt into the system, and that's going to get filtered through, and I've put the full boxes right in here. Press that button, and we now have a loaded system of basalt as well as all of the other items. And I'm going to leave the full box of oak out because I need to refill my wood box because I let it despawn while I was in the end earlier. So we are nearing the end of the episode, and I briefly want to talk about 2 things. First of all, I will deal with the Phantom's insomnia game rules soon. I'm planning on doing a live stream before this video comes out, so you guys have already missed it. But I'm gonna take care of that, and probably somewhere in here we will have this place where we can put the nether block and change the command rule. I also want to talk about briefly about 1.21. I'm looking forward to it. I might stream a little bit here on YouTube whenever it comes out, but I'm not going to update until the mods update, as per usual. Not too invested in getting it. I really want the crafters, but I mean, there's no sense in me trying to rush an update and trying to do things without mods, trying to do things without replay mod, and so I think I will just wait. Hopefully, we'll get that quickly, but we'll have to see. Planning on doing a little bit of building on stream, maybe another one of these types of buildings, and then whenever 1.21 comes out, I might need to do a little bit more designing for one of these, and also we need a building for that over there. So I got a lot of things in the work. Hopefully you guys can come by, catch that, and yeah, look forward to seeing you. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.